Now, ever since Trump came into office, he's been attacking law firms. We know this. There are law firms that have settled after being sued by the Trump administration. They would have won their cases in court, but they settled, and they've been rebuked by different Supreme Court justices for their weakness. They've been insulted by some Supreme Court justices that if you can't handle the career of law, don't get into it. I'm surprised it took the American Bar Association this long, but they have sued every single, like the CIA, the Department of Energy, Scott Bessent. They've sued everybody. They've sued the entire Trump administration over executive orders targeting law firms. It claims that the executive orders pursued by the White House have cast a chill across the legal industry. They have. Their law firms are now tailoring the way that they bring cases. The law firms, these big law firms in this country, are tasked with taking on unpopular cases. One of them took on the case of Ruby Freeman and her mom, Shaye Moss. Ruby Freeman and Shaye Moss, after being horribly doxxed and abused by Rudy Giuliani, defamed over and over again, lied about them stealing ballots or whatever. And it was ridiculous the way that Rudy Giuliani was using them to get press and they won a $154 million judgment and have been collecting on it ever since. They were represented by one of these big law firms. This is what these law firms do in this country. This is what the legal profession does in this country. The American Bar Association is vanilla. It's right down the middle of the road. They're fighting back. The ABA, a voluntary professional organization for lawyers, alleged in its complaint filed in federal court in Washington Monday that the executive orders pursued by the Trump administration, as well as the deals it has reached with some of America's top law firms seeking a reprieve from federal sanctions, have cast a blizzard-like chill across the legal industry. Since taking office earlier this year, President Trump has used the vast powers of the executive branch to coerce lawyers and law firms to abandon clients, causes, and policy positions the president does not like, the ABA wrote in its Monday lawsuit. Throughout the first several months in his office, Trump has hammered major law firms, including Paul, Weiss, and Rifkin, Wharton, and Garrison, with executive orders and memos seeking to freeze their federal caseload and restricting lawyers from entering government buildings. Some of the country's leading firms have made deals with the White House, pledging to provide millions in pro bono legal work towards causes favored by the president and eliminate in-house diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. It's bullshit. Meanwhile, two federal judges in May struck down orders targeting law firms, Perkins Coie and Jenner and Block, ruling that they ran afoul of the Constitution. Still, ABA contended in this lawsuit, law firms that once proudly contributed thousands of hours of pro bono work to a host of causes, including causes championed by the ABA, have withdrawn from such work because it's disfavored by the administration. And this thin-skinned egomaniac, this malignant narcissist right here, look at that sad face. What a pathetic piece of crap he is. In its suit, the ABA wrote that the Trump's law firm intimidation policy was in violation of the First Amendment, in part because it threatened retaliation for engaging in speech the government disfavors. The organization also alleged the White House had violated the Constitution's separation of powers. The ABA also claimed that it and other organizations reliant on the pro bono work of D.C. law firms face specific, serious, and sometimes existential crises as a result of law firms' reaction to the president's policy. This is time to stand up, speak out, and seek relief from our courts. William R. Bay, president of the ABA, said in a statement accompanying the complaint, "There has never been a more urgent time for the ABA to defend its members, our profession, and the rule of law itself." The Trump administration and ABA had clashed several times since he returned to the Oval Office in January. The organization lashed out at Trump's attacks on law firms and judges in an open letter in March, writing that the intimidating words and actions we have heard and seen must end. And Attorney General Pam Bondi in May barred the ABA from vetting the records of federal judicial nominees. In a statement, White House spokesperson Harrison Fields called the lawsuit clearly frivolous. I don't think so. No, say what you want. The president has always had the discretion over which contracts the government enters into and who receives security clearances. That's not true, Field says. His exercise of core executive functions can now be dictated by the ABA, a private organization, or the courts. The administration looks forward to the ultimate victory on this issue. That's what you think. That's what he thinks. I have a feeling that the American Bar Association, who's always been a beacon of like down the road, middle of the boring. This is the stuff you read. Their magazines that they put out. This is the stuff that's in dentist's office and stuff. I mean, it's vanilla. Okay, it's not whatever Trump is trying to make it in this Marxist leftist organization. It's not. He can say what he wants, but they don't want these huge law firms in this country to have independence. That's what they don't want. They don't want them to have independence because he has been at the losing end of so many lawsuits. This sad guy right here, he knows the power that these huge law firms in this country have. And by going after them and actually winning, having law firms give in and capitulate, shame on you. Shame on you for doing that. Shame on you. The American Bar Association is finally standing up. I'm surprised it took them this long, but here they are. And they have brought a mother of a lawsuit against this administration. And I cannot wait for the next update on this case.